I found these bowls at Costco, and they seem to work out extremely well as I transfer the batter from one to another. So we're going to take this, put the second rise in this bowl after I spray it with PAM. I put 2 cups of sourdough starter in the bowl from here, and then you need to add 2 starter so you'll have enough for next time. 1 cup of water, stir it up. Loves to be beat up. I added 1 cup of water. I add 2 cups of. We're just going to stir that until it's incorporated. You really don't need to worry about. So now I'm going to make the loaf of bread. Prepare it. I place 2 cups of sourdough and two cups of white flour, which is 240, and then 1 cup. All right, there we go. All right, now we're going to put 1 cup of water. And we just stir that in. I'm going to use kosher salt, 1 tablespoon of salt, which will slow the action, therefore giving a much better sourdough flavor. All right, that's it. We'll leave that for 12 hours. That's done. So now that I've sprayed that, I'll set it aside. Set it there. And we will mix up dough, which is ready to be its second rise. So we'll start putting the other products in it and let it rise the next 2 hours. I'm going to use some Craisins. Use 1 2/3 cups. 1/3 cup is 40 grams, times 40 is 200 grams. We're going to measure that by weight. 200. Set that aside. And pecans are 28 grams per 1/4 cup. Going to put a full cup in. Now I'll chop these up. I've placed the nuts and the craisins in the dough. This little guy is the one I like best. It's a great stirring spoon, as well as able to scrape the edges by a good cook. It's really quite handy. But as you stir this in, you can see it's quite thin. And as it is very thin, it's going to wet the craisins and the nuts. But that's too thin in order to really be the bread. So I'm going to add about maybe a 1/4 cup at a time to stiffen it up a little bit, but it's just stirring it in, kind of like pancake batter. That's a 1/2 cup that I've added now, extra flour. It'll keep sucking it up. You can really put a lot of flour in sourdough. You don't need a lot, but it has to have a better consistency than too thin. I'm going to go again. So there's another 1/2 cup, and we'll put a 1/4 cup in again. This also gives the sourdough an additional food that they can eat for the next 2 hours while they rise. And that's it, right there. So we have the next bowl, and I'm just going to pour that in there. Then we take the lid, and that's it. just set it there for another 2 hours. Let it rise and get ready for the oven. A half hour before I put it in, I will start the oven to 450. Here we are, ready to put it in the oven. The oven is at temperature. Get the lid off. See if I can put this in without burning myself. This loaf turned out very well.
It did.
This is the pan that seems to work the best for the bread and gives us the thickness of the loaf that is good. This is a Lodge cast iron 5-quart Dutch oven with handles on either side and a lid that fits well and tight over the pan.